A lot of books back there, Paul. Have you read those books, Paul?
They're all movies. I have seen most of them.
Oh, the DVDs.
Yes. I thought about putting Remember the Titans, Malcolm X, Much Ado, a lot of the Coen brothers up, and I was like, I don't want it to be too distracting. Yeah, they are.
Well, those are your babies, huh?
Yeah, they are.
I can tell.
Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Mr. Denzel Washington, I love Shakespeare. So it was an absolute honor and privilege getting to not only see you as Macbeth, but getting just to talk to you today. So thank you so much for the time. This is incredible. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Now, you recently said that Joel Coen sets the bar high. And I'm curious, what is his directing approach like? And do you plan on incorporating any of that in the films that you direct?
Ooh, if I would be so bold. Because you don't know what he's thinking. It's like, what's going on in that mind of his, And maybe it was unique because I was about to direct a movie. So here I'm working with one of the all-time greats. And I had 1,001 questions, as a budding filmmaker and as an actor. So it was just a great sort of masterclass, if you will, to watch him, to see how he worked.
I love that you say that, because we're never too, like, at any point in our life and career, we're always learning and we're always growing. Now, I'm curious, how does working on the greats like Shakespeare and August Wilson continue to challenge you as an actor?
Well, it stretches your muscles. It's jumping out. It's jumping out of the plane, not knowing if you have a parachute or not. And if you don't have one, it's going to hurt. With Shakespeare and with August Wilson, the fall's going to hurt. But so it's a great challenge and a great opportunity. Shakespeare and August Wilson, 20 years from now, I'll be going, oh, that's what he meant in Macbeth. You can never figure it out.
Well, speaking of planes, you were phenomenal in Flight, by the way. I don't want to miss that opportunity to tell you about Flight. That was phenomenal. But this idea of, like, we see film and theater at different parts of any part of our life, I think that's fascinating. Now, when you're making a movie, you don't often get the time to rehearse and just play with the text. Did you get a chance to do that here? And how valuable was that in building who Macbeth and Lady Macbeth were?
We had to. We had to rehearse, because this is Shakespeare, to get it so it doesn't feel like you just learned it an hour ago. You just had to rehearse over and over and over. So I just ran those speeches just over and over and over again, while they were building the sets, I would just go in there and just work.
Oh my God, I love it. Now, if you could take Joel and Francis and yourself and this phenomenal company and do another play of Shakespeare's, what would you do and why?
Ooh, good question.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I can't, because that comes down to what is it I want to do. I'd be curious to see what Joel would be interested in.
I think we can all be a little selfish.
It might be interesting to be in some. What's a dark comedy? What would Joel lend himself?
I mean, 12 Nights. I don't know. It's not really dark, and As You Like It, Much Ado.
Even Much Ado with a Coen brother.
Oh my God, Denzel, I wish I got the rap. I wish I could keep talking Shakespeare with you. This has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for the time today. Thank you for bringing August Wilson to audiences as well. I'm looking forward to the next one. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Corey, it is really great talking to you again today. I love Shakespeare, and the tragedy of Macbeth was stunning, and you are fantastic in it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Denzel recently said that Joel Coen sets the bar high. So I'm curious, what is his directing approach like?
He sets the bar high in terms of his vision, in terms of his scope, in terms of what he, I remember looking at the lookbook that he gave us at the very beginning of the process, and looking at it now, and now seeing the vision on screen. It's a cinematic masterpiece, and it looks just like the book. It's sort of like he took the vision and just sort of put it up there and added these other incredible elements in the company of actors. And that's the bar. You know what I mean? The way he works, his expectations, is that everyone comes in ready to work, and they did.
I love hearing that. I was curious. I'm like, with directors like him, do they have it all mapped out? Even on stage, could you even see what the final product would be like? And it kind of sounds like you did. Like, it is stunning to watch. Now you're doing Shakespeare with Denzel and Francis and Joel and this incredible company. What do you just take away from this experience? Because it must have been just unforgettable.
I take away the fact that you have to just keep working, man. Like, it's not. You can't rest on your laurels. You have to continue taking risks, because if Fran and Denzel and Joel are taking this risk when they don't have to do it, they could easily just, chill and not do another movie, and they'd still be, legends for many, many, many years to come. And so the fact that they are taking the chances that they're taking, the opportunities that they're taking to sort of branch out and do something different, it's an experiment. And watching them in rehearsal, it's the thing that reminds you that's what you want to emulate. That's what you want to continue doing, and that's what I want to continue doing for the rest of my career.
Oh my God, I love hearing that. That's just incredible to hear. Now, acting for the camera is much differently than acting for the stage. Would you approach Macbeth any differently if you were doing Shakespeare on the stage, or even like Shakespeare in the Park?
Probably not. I mean, I think, to be honest, I think it's all on the page, and all you have to do sort of is mine it. I think that technically it would be different. I think technically, if you're playing to a 1,000-seat house, trying to reach that person all the way in the back, there's those differences. But at the end of the day, we approached it in the same way that we approached any of the other, or someone would approach any of the other work and or other play. So I'm just fortunate that, we got to become a company, and we got the rehearsal period and it felt like we were rehearsing for a play. And then you get on set and there's these big backdrops and set pieces, and then they add the music later. And I mean, it just feels like a symphony with all these great pieces, added to it.
Oh my God, I love that comparison. Yeah, it's just everything about this movie is stunning. If you could take Joel and the same company, what Shakespeare play would you tackle next? And why, and who would you play?
Midsummer Night's Dream. And I don't think I'd be any good at it, but Puck. I would love to do Puck. And watching Joel do that, I mean, I'd be like curious, I don't think he would want to. Maybe he would, I don't know. If I'd be like Fran and trying to convince him to do this one just like she did with Macbeth. Yeah. But yeah.
Corey, I love that answer. That's fantastic. I got the wrap. It was great talking to you again. I just want to tell you how much I loved In the Heights. So congrats again on your role in that too. It was lovely.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take care. Have a good day, Corey. You too. Paul McGuire Grimes, KSTP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Alex, it is really great talking to you today. I love Shakespeare, and the tragedy of Macbeth was absolutely stunning, and your performance was incredible. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. Not at all. A pleasure.
Yeah. Now, I love, and I'm obsessed with your costume in film. How much of like the structure of that kind of, or the other design and creative elements really affected your performance?
The costume massively affected my performance. It wasn't really until I put the costume on. I mean, and I have to say, it was pretty much as you see it, almost on the first fitting. We changed bits here and there, but that really made me begin to understand the character. Sometimes that happens, and that's such a gift when someone else's idea kind of fires off impulses in your brain. I mean, practically it's very, very tight, so I have to move in a certain way. I can't take long strides, so it means that I have to kind of glide or hitch it up. But also the kind of monastic quality to it made me think of the character in a certain way. Also the kind of wings, the more kind of lady, well, it's sort of slightly based on Lady Macbeth's costume, so what that would do to the way I moved and stuff. Yeah, it was a great gift. I do massively thank Mary Zofres for doing most of my work.
And no, it was stunning. When you came on, I was like, I am obsessed with that costume. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Now, you're doing Shakespeare with Denzel and Frances McDormand and Joel Cohen and this really terrific company. What do you just take away from what I would assume would be this unforgettable experience?
Yes, I mean, it really was an utter joy from beginning to end. What do I take away from it? I mean, I would say, to be honest, real internal validation. I think to get the opportunity to be believed in by these people has meant a great deal to me personally. Being an actor can be quite an insecure thing, and to feel like they wanted me there means a great deal to me.
I love hearing that. That's so great. And sometimes we always need that validation, at any point in our career in life. Now, I think that acting for the stage is so much different than acting for the camera. I'm curious, how would you approach Ross differently if you're doing this on the stage or even like a Shakespeare in the Park production?
Well, what's so brilliant about this production is that Joel has really created this version of Ross in a very, very different way. He's threaded through the whole story in a way that he isn't usually. He's been given lines and is in scenes that the character wouldn't usually be in. So I guess we'd have to take this exact version of Ross and do it on stage. But otherwise, it's a completely different character, which is always the pleasure, I guess, of doing these plays, and that seeing people do them over and over is the way that different people interpret them. So I'm not sure. It'd be fascinating to do it on stage.
I don't know how you'd make it black and white, but we could try it.
Right. I mean, it would be a very different play. And I think that's what's so interesting about Shakespeare is you can take the same text and do such completely different things with it. Hopefully it comes across. And what I love about this is just what Joel did. Now, if you were to take Joel Cohen and the same company of actors, what Shakespeare play would you like to tackle next?
Well, I mean, I'd have to be self-serving, wouldn't I? I'd have to say like Hamlet or something. I think, I'm wearing black. Hamlet, then, Fran could be Gertrude, Denzel could be Claudius and the Ghost, maybe. I think we're onto something.
Yes, I love it. Alex, thank you so much. I got the wrap. This was phenomenal. So thank you so much for the time today. I appreciate it.